Zoo Talk. Lions. Wow.
They do track. Yeah. It's like the way cats are just silent, when they're around. They do the same. They're not like roar, run out, and beat your face off. They try to sneak up and just.
It's supposed to be a surprise. Wow.
Yeah.
What I do is I just monitor it terribly, so when I see hunger, I can stay away.
And then milk tigers like the best job of any in the world.
Yeah, they do nothing.
Eat, have sex.
They're done.
Every once in a while, come in and scare off a hyena.
But they're bigger, so they can.
Yeah, they just come in and go bar.
Yeah.
Are they separate from the females?
Females love that. Yeah, they're in the pride, but not.
Male tigers have like, the best job in the animal kingdom. I mean, male lions.
What a majestic look.
Yeah. Come play with me.
He's having the wrong reaction, I think.
It's fur. Uh-oh. Let's see. Who's this?
Wow. How many are here?
So they have another male, so they keep the males and females separate.
That's what it seems like.
Oh. Here's somebody's arm.
It's a Gantt shirt. It's a tasty treat.
It looks like it's food and eating burlap right now. Yeah.
Well, here.
Who's a homeless person?
What do you want, right?
It helps. Decreases the population. The homeless population. I wonder if they're bored.
Gladiator fights.
Yeah, I would think they are. A lot of times, that's what I, is if I know anything. But when they're in cages, these cats would just back and forth. You can see them they couldn't sit still like these guys.
But do you think the daylines always normally don't do anything sleep, so I think they're happy enough now.
Yeah.
But they have what? I mean, they're made to run. The moves.
Yeah. Some of them, especially, like if you trap up in the way they hunt, besides just being attacked, they run stuff to death. They just run for miles and miles and miles until the thing dies.
I wonder how they keep them in shape. It's like astronauts in space.
You know, they have a park out in the Shenandoah Valley where they do some research and breeding, and maybe they shift animals out there to give them more land to use, run around.
Oh, they're better now. Like this is actually pretty good at bred. Like they giving their animals more space. Some of the other ones, the new exhibits they made, a lot of them have more space than like they used to.
Right. Maybe on our way out. Let's go back and go back to the orangutan. We can. They're around here. Go back here and go see the orangutan.
Walk over here. I want to see an orangutan because they're
I was gonna say, I think there's tigers. There's more than. I mean, there might not be, but.
Yeah, why don't we just go walk around there?
So you can't go inside. You can't go.
Zoo Talk. Elephants.
The elephants can traverse from that building all the way to here and down. Yeah, so,
A little bit of exercise.
no, this stream, just like the orangutans.
Oh,
Yeah. Elephants, they have needs too.
that's true. With their trunks? Or just with their arms?
I hope with their trunks.
It's like big dogs. Man, animals. So
And
strange.
I remember, in fact, I was listening to some guy who said these things. And they're matriarchal, right? So they follow the female. And somewhere there, a baby died. And, all the elephants just sort of gathered around and sort of stared at this. And you can see it was like a funeral. They were just sitting there and they were literally touched. I mean, it's dead. They knew. They prodded it. Now they just sort of pondered. They were remorse. Just, gosh. They have big brains. Yes. Things that you'd never imagine an animal.
Yeah.
Feelings.
Right.
How's that?
I just wonder why not an alligator?
They're just,
Yeah. No, I know.
they're, close to, there's evolution. There's
all the way around.
dinosaurs and reptiles today that are reminiscent of those, and then dogs, right? Direct descendants of reptiles. Lucky.
Right.
Go figure.
Well, just what leads an animal, us, elephants, anything, what leads us to be more aware?
Or why did they develop and evolve with that stupid trunk? What good is that? Really? I can understand a giraffe say if you had to eat these leaves and come to the tree, but what on that? What does it? I don't know what it does.
What are you asking, Dad?
Trunks. Why did elephants evolve using extend their what do they need then? Like normal now.
To the Capitol building with John and Ellen.
She's already admitted that she would have been good for her to take a year off after she got out of high school. She already started college as a second semester sophomore.
Yeah.
But then it still took her 4 years to, figure out what she wanted to do and get her degree and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I got this is 14th Street. Take a turn.
Well, I like your advice as well, just because of all the things that you guys have been able to do. I know your decisions about your careers have been able to afford you the time and the capital in order to do that. So if I want a similar kind of life, then I know that listening to what you guys have to say is at least worth doing, at the very least.
I think the other thing, Kenneth, is, marrying well.
Marrying well.
When you marry, you want a partner. You want someone that you're not going to fight, and you're not, you have the same basic principles. And, so John's always, saying free is for me. Well, I'm the same way. I'm just as frugal.
Right.
I mean, that's what kills me about Morgan. That's why driving the Toyota doesn't embarrass me at all.
Right.
Nobody ever gave me a car before.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
And it's a piece of crap. But you know what? It works, and it's just...
It gets you there.
For.
My grandfather said, a poor ride is better than a proud walk.
Absolutely. So, I'm not, have I adequately conveyed some of that stuff to my kids?
Right.
Probably not.
Well, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to value your own parents' words as much as like my own parents. I know that they've done a lot for me, and I'm very appreciative and thankful for that. But I also give them a lot of flack for things that take away the thankfulness and appreciativeness that I should show them all the time. But overall, I know that they've molded me more than I would like to give them credit for. Just because I feel like I want all the credit for myself, I guess. But I can see that Morgan and Marshall they've definitely imbibed a lot of the way you and John are. Definitely. You guys are a very solid unit as a family. And it's very, very obvious that you are definitely a family.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
We don't talk.
Well, it's just, I can tell that the mentality, like you guys have it's almost like you share a network, a wireless network.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That exactly.
Pretty crowded down here today.
Look at this.
NBA. Is this the mall?
We're getting close. It's
Okay.
we're going back down to Constitution.
Yeah.
And so this is Pennsylvania Avenue where you and Marshall and I walk. So there's the old post office that you were with Morgan.
Okay.
What festival this is? Festival of the Streets.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, I just made that up.
No. There is one, and it's like a wine or beer or something.
That's for me.
So Kenneth,
Yeah.
I think that Marshall is actually the different one in the family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Morgan is different because she really is the extrovert.
Right.
Everyone else is an introvert in our family.
Mm-hmm.
But Marshall And I really do think Marshall is the engineering brain. He really does think differently.
Yeah.
He is thoughtful. He's really smart. Morgan's smart, very smart. I always thought Morgan was smarter, but I don't think so.
Different intelligence, perhaps.
But Morgan has a very different combination of John and I than
Right.
Marshall does.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I mean, my thing is that I think my hope is that my children have other adult influences that aren't their parents, like John and I have been adult influences for lots of other kids.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that maybe is a little bit missing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't, we have obviously lots of kids that come and go through our house.
Yeah.
And I wish that Morgan could find a mentor.
Right.
And we've tried to point her several different directions to find that, but it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Can I go around? Oh, I can't put you on this box, John.
Okay.
I just need you to help me over your shoulder. So now we're back to Constitution Avenue here. So this is going to be the African American Museum is going in
Oh, really?
right here. Yes, this was.
Marrying well. That's an interesting piece of advice.
Yeah. That is.
Mm-hmm.
Very up in society. is what I
Divorce
say.
is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And, that's your parents did that. They've stuck together, they've hung together. It's really, really important.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I don't want to marry more than once. For sure. If it can be helped, which
Right.
I think it can.
Right.
But definitely a good partner is important.
Oh, man, I will never be well.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard a sermon once that Brittany's mom sent me. And it was talking about young people and relationships and stuff. And the preacher said that it's important for young people, if you're trying to find the right person, but you're still single, I guess, it's good to try to become the person that you want to be with.
Right.
And so I think in these next years, I'm planning on being single, and in that time, that's what I'm going to strive to do more so than I already have. Kind of develop all those characteristics even more solidly and firmly than they had previously been, and then hope that I find that right person.
Right. And so the other thing then, when you marry well, is to find a person whose financial aspirations
Match. Right.
I mean,
That is definitely
think
important.
The one thing that John and I can say, I don't think we have ever had an argument over money.
Yeah.
I don't even know that we've ever had a difference of opinion about how to manage money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either one of us has ever done stuff with money that the other one disapproved of.
Right. Right. That's important.
And most marriages, most arguments are about money.
Right. Oh, it'd be such a shame to fight over money too.
Right, right. But and it is one of those things, and it's you have to make a decision. Do I have my money, his money, and our money,
Yeah.
or do we have our money, or what?
Right.
And this is what concerns me about Marshall with Ashley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Designer. Fashionista.
I've never seen her in the same outfit twice: shoes, pants, dress. And quite frankly, nothing that she wears is particularly stunning, but I know it costs a lot of money.
Right.
And Marshall could, quite frankly, care less.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still wearing stuff that he wore in junior high school. It doesn't bother him.
Right.
He wants your shirt, kid.
I can
But
tell.
Marshall will all be all about having a car or whatever.
Yeah. aspects before responsibility can still survive with adult responsibility too, right?
And so, John teases me about when can he retire and all that kind of stuff. Well, part of it is, kind of mutual, and, he knows he can actually do it whenever.
Right.
So this is the original Smithsonian building cast. So
Right.
This is all getting redone. This is a huge
Original castle.
undertaking. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Original castle.
Just like touched up, or how so is it being redone?
Well, they had this roof had to all be fixed, and so they're restoring it all.
After the earthquake?
It's a huge expense.
I think even before the earthquake, it just was aged and had
Yeah.
to be repointed.
Yeah, it was in process, and the earthquake might have
Accelerated it.
accelerated some of the work
Right.
that had to be done. Because I do remember hearing about some of the towers being damaged.
What year is the Smithsonian from? The original? Do you know?
1954.
So it's not even that old.
No,
1854?
1854.
Oh, 1854. Okay, that is pretty old.
Not by European standards.
True.
I
Very
don't know what year,
interesting.
Kenneth, but it was somewhere around that period.
This has been a good week. I've seen a lot.
Good, I'm glad.
I really am appreciative and thankful to you guys.
Well, you're most welcome.
I hope that
Just come up with more money and come up here and go ahead and spend it all.
I have money. Spending money to me is I get anxious about spending money. Even
Even my money.
even your money,
Yeah.
my parents' money, my own money, everybody's money.
So this is the air and space. And this is a community garden that's down here, right down here. So this is where the Eisenhower Memorial is supposed to go. There's a lot of controversy. I mean,
Concluding thoughts, impressions, and feelings from Union Station. Exterior. Today is June 23rd, Saturday, 5:38 p.m. And I'm back at Union Station. Already the trip is over. And I haven't done too much talking about what it's been like for me here. Mostly I've just been trying to record a lot of what I've been around and the things that people have said to me, and just kind of the whole experience as it was experienced through audio the whole time. But this trip has given me a lot to think about. And it's been very bittersweet. For a large part of this trip, I had this strange sort of constant feeling that wasn't necessarily a good feeling. It was sort of a realization that it didn't make me feel good about myself, which was kind of strange. It was a lot of feelings of like self-pity and low feelings of self-worth and direction, which I don't think any of that was purposefully put onto me, but just the environment that I've been in now for the past few days and the people who I was around, just the conversations, the stories, everything has just made me question where I'm going, what I'm doing, what I'm worth. Because the Finleys, Morgan, Marshall, John, and Ellen, they've all had a lot of adventures throughout the world. They've been in many places, they know many people, they're successful people. They've lived their lives well, and they're making sure that their children live their lives well. And comparatively, thinking back to just the things I've done in my life and where I've been, who I know, things like that. And I'm drinking a coffee right now, so I'm gonna take a sip. Comparatively, I feel like my history, my past, doesn't have as much variety and diversity, experience. It's not so experience rich. I've done a lot of things in my life, many more than other people, but still I feel comparatively that I was sort of at a loss. I talked a lot to John about career stuff and Ellen about the same, and they're very career oriented and everything, and that's good to to get their perspectives and everything, because I like to be more well-rounded with what I'm doing. But it was sort of overwhelming, and it's interesting because it's definitely molded Marshall and Morgan a lot, I think, to view not only what they want in life, but how they plan to go about it. Just in terms of money, mostly, and how in the future the Finley's children will support themselves, and how all of these experiences throughout life have led them to a point now where they can. And it's just so interesting to see a family so connected and so invested in each other's lives, and they're sharing all these stories, and there's not even the slightest hint of discordance between them. I mean, they have their little fights and they don't agree all the time, but overall I can tell that they really genuinely enjoy each other's company, and they're very, like I said, invested in one another's lives, and there's just a lot of shared experience there. And when I think about my own family, my mom, my dad, my sister, my sister and I are very, very close, and we've come together more and more as the years have passed, but there's just not that same level of investment. And I was just thinking today when I was with John and Ellen about my going to college. I've never really thought about college. I mean, obviously college is supposed to be the training for your job and everything, but I never had it imprinted upon me, instilled in me, that college should be something that was really seriously considered for your future prospects and everything. And again, it's very much so connotated to be so. But for me, college has just been always the pursuit of what's interesting and not necessarily the pursuit of what's profitable. And with Ellen and John and Morgan and all, it's her training in college was so that she could become an urban planner. Another sip of coffee. It's just a very different family structure. And it seems to be one that is bred specifically for experiential and monetary success. And so it just makes me wonder in the future where I'll be going. I really don't have any idea. I'm confident that I'm going somewhere I want to go, and that the things I'm doing will get me there. But it's just a little bit disconcerting. Definitely not disconcerting. To see that, if I were to hold my lifeline up to what their lifeline is, there are several places at which we diverge, and overall just not consistent in the same core areas. If I was in a relationship with them as a family, like a romantic relationship, this is a metaphor, I think that we would have to break up just because our core values and our ideas and everything are so different. And I love that because it's enriching for me now to be here, to be around them and all. But it just really made me think about a lot of stuff. Oh no, there's a fly in my coffee. Gotta get him out. Don't want him cooking. Get out of there, you nasty little bug. Crazy bug. Anyway, so that's given me a lot to think about. And thankfully, I recorded a lot of the conversations that have happened since I've been here. And I'll be able to listen back to them and think about everything again. On the train, I'm planning on writing some letters, definitely a letter of thank you to the Finleys. Thinking about writing a letter to Brittany for her birthday, which relationship stuff is another thing. Being here has made me think about, really, what it is I have so rejected the standard model of the American life and everything that stands for, just because I don't find any personal value or potential fulfillment in it. The pursuit of money and things like that, the material life. And the Finleys are very much so a material family. And that's not to say that in any means it takes away from, the depth of their relationship. They have a very good relationship with the children. They are good people, but they are definitely thoroughly invested in the material world. And that's something that I've tried to reject a lot throughout my life. And not only in a, philosophical kind of way, but also just in the practices that I have taken onto myself with, no car, always always striving to do physical activities that are difficult and challenging, and living minimally and everything like that. Not being obsessed with things, basically, the pursuit of things. And so being here now, this week, with the Finleys, it's been very different because they sort of embody that, and I've been able to reject it at a distance when I'm working at Whole Foods or something, and I see people who I don't necessarily identify with because of what I feel like are different values. But being in their home and everything, they take me out to eat, and I think about in the future, if I wanted to take someone out to eat, how am I going to afford to do that? And if I want to travel in the future, how am I going to be able to do that? Because, it was basically breaking the bank just to get here this week. So to take the train up from Atlanta to Virginia is $370, and though I was easily able to do it, that's only 600 miles, and it's not like it's very diverse here compared to Atlanta. It's definitely a different city, different people, different vibe, but it's not like going to France or China or India, There's a lot more to be gained in those kind of trips, and these people, the Finleys, have taken a lot of those kinds of trips. And so it was just sort of almost like a review. It's like, is this really what you're not striving for? Like, think about it. The world is saying, think about it. And with relationships and stuff, marriage is a part of the life of America and Americans that I've rejected in a sense, but not altogether. I definitely want a companion and a partner. I just don't feel like I've met anyone yet who's up to my level of standards, or not even just for myself, but for them as themselves, which is a strange concept, not the most clear-cut thing. And while I've been here, I've tried to keep up my push-up regimens and everything. I've eaten a lot of food, which was nice. A lot of different foods and everything. My diet has definitely changed over this week. But I also have been watching a lot of things on physics and space and things like that, and continued to research the things that have really been interesting to me recently. And so, coupled and coinciding with everything that I've thought about this week, I've wondered if I should pursue physics, which is a weird change in direction completely that I hadn't really been considering seriously. But I've gotten to the point now where I've watched so many documentaries and understand things well enough that the only way to really take it deeper would be to study it in an academic, setting with formulas, numbers, values. John told me one piece of advice before he left a moment ago to take some classes in statistics. He said that it was cool that I was into space and physics and all these things, but unless there's some way to quantify ideas in a way that's meaningful and real, numerically, then what's it worth? I'm walking around every day trying to think about how the world, the universe, animals, people, everything, how it all works together. But if I don't have a framework in which to describe what I'm thinking about in a way that is transferable to other people, then it's basically, there's no end to the thinking. And so that's another thought. And so this week has just been full of that kind of stuff. Feelings of exaggerated loss of self-worth and, I guess, what's the word? Self-pity. Somewhat self-pity. I don't know. It's been a weird week. It's been really, really good. Overall, I've loved it. But it's just had these distinct pockets, moments of being alone and how that's been, and what I've done with the Finleys that's made me think about what I've thought about my own family. It's very all-encompassing. It's been an all-encompassing kind of week. Some broccoli on the floor. And so I'm outside the station now, just thinking about everything, wondering, truly, this is the ultimate thought, is, am I actually an intelligent person? Am I a smart person? Do I have any unique skills or abilities that set me apart from other people? Because I feel like I do, obviously. But is that just symptomatic of being a human? Is that something that everyone feels until they're confronted with something and they realize that they are mute to speak, you know? Is it really, am I ever going to have my name on something important, be it a building or a paper or a book, or will I just dissolve into, you know, the dust of history with all the other millions and billions of humans who have ever lived and died with no real lasting contribution to humanity in any facet or capacity? Because, you know, I can craft a sentence like that, and I can say that with genuine feeling and thoughtfulness, but then how do I transfer my thoughts, my desires, my talents, whatever they may be? How do I make that real? How do I make that tangible? How do I share something with people? How do I improve the world? How do I improve myself? I'm such a soft-line person. I'm not dealing with something, you know, I'm not a civil engineer. I can't think about the best way to help an area develop, you know, its next great community center and take into consideration the aesthetic value of how I should make the building look, and then think about where I should place the property, these very real-world things. I deal so much in the world of abstractions and feelings and thoughts, and I don't know. It's just, it was a confrontation this week. It was a confrontation with my usual MO, the way I deal with things, and practicality, reality. You know, my parents, so hands-off. They never really challenged me in the ways that I want to be challenged. Never really challenged me in a lot of ways. I won't say it all. But just the guidance and direction. I've never felt a great pull or push in any certain direction from my parents. Always very supportive, but I mean, that's easy to support something if apathy is your means of support. You know, my parents don't know much about the Peace Corps. They haven't asked. And now I could talk their ear off why I want to go, what it means to me, what the program is. You know, like I already said, I applied to college myself. That was a completely singular undertaking, and I got in. And, you know, it's not to say that I have a bad family situation. I'm very grateful and thankful that my family is as permitting and accommodating as they are. But, again, I'm having this week with the Finleys to compare my experience with theirs. And ultimately, the point that I resonate with most is it echoes something I heard on NPR once. It was a story of a young African-American female boxer who was from some impoverished ghetto region of the United States, and she was going to try out for the Olympics, and she was going to be the youngest boxer in Olympic history or something to be from America, whatever the case may have been. And she said that when she was training and everything and going through the motions of becoming a great boxer, she had to overcome a lot of just psychological barriers and boundaries. People telling her that she wasn't going to be able to make it because of where she was from or what her family was like and her parental situation, things like that. And she said that there comes a time, and this is from a 14-year-old, you know, there comes a time in your life where you have to you can either continue to say, woe is me for my situation, and that can be your excuse, and you can stay on your small island, in your small country, in your small state for the rest of your life and not grow, or you can acknowledge the past and kind of move past it and grow in a direction that is beneficial to you and everything. And I was reading a little bit of Emerson's essays this week, particularly the one on self-reliance, because I've never really felt as alone as I have recently, just not in a bad way, but just in an all-encompassing kind of way. And he sort of says the same thing, more poetically and articulately, but says something to the effect of there comes a point in every man's life where he has to acknowledge the plot of land that he's been given and how best to till it so that it will bear fruit, you know. And that's given me a lot of comfort during these times of having all these thoughts go through my head about myself being a failure, or myself not being good enough, or whatever my prospects are being challenged or questioned, things like that. Everyone's experience is different ultimately, and mine is included in that, and there's no such thing as the ideal situation. If it wasn't this that I'm now talking about, it would be something else, and that's going to be the state for anyone, no matter what situation they find themselves in. And so, by acknowledging that and doing the best with what I have, rather than wishing I had more to do more with, I think that's what will make the difference. And so as I go back to Atlanta, I'm not sure what sort of continuation, what sort of reverberations all of these thoughts and everything will have on my life as it goes forward, but I do thank God that I have another year of school, and that I do have the Peace Corps in front of me after that. Just some things to give me a little bit more reference, a little bit more information. I feel like an intelligent person, but I just wish I knew everything. And so perhaps it's my awareness of my own ignorance that makes me feel at a loss. Because the Finleys know so much about history, and they know so much about Washington, D.C., where we've been this week. And it's all this information I have no idea about, and I'm jealous, Information is something that, to me, is as powerful as currency. It's what I value most in the world. It's what I pursue most in the world. And so when those who have it express it, and I don't have that type of currency within my own repertoire, it's just confounding and slightly belittling to me. It's humbling. That's what it is, really. I'm humbled. This week has been humbling. That's exactly what it has been. I've been feeling like I've been riding a high horse for a while, thinking I have everything worked out and understood. At Whole Foods, laughing at the people who don't seem to have good jobs or aren't happy with their lives and everything, and I've sort of given into this system and this society that has a very strict formula for success. And this week, I've been humbled, and it's just given me a lot to think about. And so with that, I'm going to re-enter the station. It's 6 o'clock now, so the train should be getting here soon. Might be boarding even sooner, who knows. But I need to use the restroom and prepare myself. But there might be more clips to come. Who knows? Either way, this has been a great week. I'm very happy, very lucky to have been able to have it. And I really, really thank the Finleys, all of them, for letting me into their house, taking me around the city and feeding me, everything that they did. I can't thank them enough for that. And so with that, back inside the station. Post face. It is the morning of June 24th, Sunday. It's about 8:40 a.m. Just got off a pretty long phone conversation with my dad, which was nice. Catch up with him a little bit. And I'm back in Atlanta now, heading slowly by feet to Trader Joe's, pick up a few little things for the day. I got a call yesterday while I was sitting on the train. It's from a restricted number, so I didn't really care about answering it. I wasn't interested in what a restricted number had to tell me. It's usually not interesting or good news. But what they did end up telling me was that my bike didn't make it on the train, and that my bike would be coming back tomorrow, Monday, and I could go pick it up around the same time that I got here today. So that's kind of strange to not have my bike with me, but a walk is nice. And I'm going to Trader Joe's, pick up a few vittles, and gonna try to get some coffee somewhere, probably at the Starbucks that's in the same plaza as Trader George's. And so I'm back. Later today, I might head to Lilburn and have dinner with my family. I probably will end up doing that. Go home, get settled back in, do some push-ups, get my routine back in schedule, and then maybe head out sometime in the early afternoon. And I'm watching a squirrel about to get smashed. Lucky squirrel. Atlanta's pretty empty right now. 8:45 in the morning. Not much action, not much life going on. But so I've had a few more hours to contemplate everything since I made my last clip yesterday afternoon before getting on the train. And not much has changed in the duration of those period between the period. But last night before I fell asleep, which was pretty difficult last night on the train, it was just extremely cold. Very, very cold. Pretty comfortable. But I just had to keep shifting to different and stranger positions of varying decrease of comfortability due to the fact that it was just so cold. But before I tried and ventured into sleep, I spent a couple hours writing. I wrote the Finleys a thank you letter that I guess I'll mail off pretty soon. And after that, I had thought that I was going to write a letter to Brittany for her birthday, just kind of talking to her about stuff that's been on my mind after the trip and just things in general. But it was strange. I felt the urge to do that earlier yesterday, but I think it sort of wore away with the day. And as I thought about it before I started writing, I wondered if it would be really even a nice letter to give someone on their birthday. I wasn't quite sure, because I know the tone of it was going to be like talking about how the decision to go into the Peace Corps is definitely a difficult one, and as it becomes more and more of a reality and not just something that I'm striving for, it's harder to not feel the pressure and the stress of that kind of a commitment. And obviously something, not this isn't obvious, but something that stuck out in my head that she had said the last time we met. She had asked me why I don't want to have good things now. And I've been thinking about that because it seems like everyone right now in America, my age, they're trying to get the good things now, like immediately, wanting to go from school to family to wealth to comfort. But I don't know if I want that. Hey, look. It seems too easy, and it seems like it will leave a lack of development and experience that won't be able to be gotten at any other time unless one chooses with a concerted effort to travel along that path now. And so I was going to write something like that, but that doesn't really seem like a nice thing to say to someone on their birthday, especially given the fact that Brittany wouldn't want to hear that. So I ended up just writing all the things I've learned about physics, both astrophysics and like quantum physics. Wrote all that stuff down and just tried to see everything that's been floating around in my mind, all these little pieces, see if there's some coherency to them, some way to fit them together in a way that I have yet to do. But all I did was basically end up drafting my current understanding